Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit salutes Black History Month by honoring patriots who fought for freedom. Before we get into today's honoree, let me just take a few seconds to just remind you all what we're doing here. All throughout the month of February, we are highlighting one hero, particularly from history, and sometimes there are worthy people from the modern era. However, we locate these individuals, we're highlighting them every day in the month of February in recognition of Black History Month. If you have just stumbled across this special tribute to heroes and patriots this current February, let me just remind you that every day this month we have highlighted some very noteworthy and distinct and very important people who have made their mark on history. Also, if you've enjoyed this month-long tribute, I'd ask that you just take a moment to like this post, subscribe to my channel, and forward my information on to your fellow friends in social media. So let's go ahead and get started with today's honoree. Today's honoree is not just one person, but it's a group. Today's honoree is the Tuskegee Airmen. The Tuskegee Airmen is the popular name of a group of African American pilots who fought in World War II. Formerly, they formed the 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombardment Group of the United States Army Air Corps. The Tuskegee Airmen were the first African American military aviators in the United States Armed Forces. During World War II, African Americans in many U.S. states were still subject to Jim Crow laws. The American military was racially segregated, as was much of the federal government. The Tuskegee Airmen were subjected to racial discrimination, both within and outside the Army. Despite these adversities, they trained and flew with distinction. All black military pilots were trained in the United States. They trained at Tuskegee, including 5 Haitians. In all, 992 pilots were trained in Tuskegee from 1941 to 1946. 450 were deployed overseas, and 150 lost their lives in accidents or combat. The toll included 66 pilots killed in action or accidents, 84 killed in training and non-combat missions, and 32 captured as prisoners of war. The Tuskegee Airmen were credited by higher commands with the following accomplishments: 1,378 combat missions, 179 bomber escort missions with a good record of protection, 112 enemy aircraft destroyed in the air, another 150 on the ground, and 148 captured, 951 rail cars, trucks, and other motor vehicles destroyed. 1 destroyer put out of action. As you can see, these guys raise a lot of hell. One last point. If you don't like guns, you probably don't know your history. Again, this has been Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit during its salute to Black History Month.